I'm so happy. I was really worried. Hi guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. My name is Liz and I'm a reseller in Maryland. This past Saturday's shopping had me a little bit worried. I had to drive 100 miles round trip just to hit 3 estate sales, and some of them were having their final day, which cannot bode well for resellers. But when I showed up at my very favorite pick of the 3, it looked like it was closed and I had missed it the day before. Spoiler alert, I found some great treasures and I will share them all with you. Let's go check it out.
Here, heard of it. Appreciate it.
Hi.
What's happening? We running you everywhere.
You guys again? Wait, are you shopping or working?
Shopping. Fine, shit.
You know, I shouldn't be buying anything. I haven't even unpacked the stuff I got from you guys 2 weeks ago. I got here and I didn't see any cars and I'm like, is it not happening? And I drove all the way here.
How are you? Welcome. I have stuff downstairs, but there's no light in there. So I'm sorry about that.
Oh, this is 2 cases. That's adorable. That's pretty cute. 2 cases. That's actually amazing. I'm going to pull some of these out so I can see them. Who makes this? Let's see, sorry. Let's see. Yes, this is a yes. No, that name. Ooh. Is that the shoulder pads degrading? Nope, it's the hanger degrading. That I can handle. Contested aroma. Why does that sound so familiar? I don't know, I'm going to look that up. Oh, isn't that a nice little number? There was more light in here, so I could see what I'm trying to buy. How do I know if I want it if I can't see it? Light. Challenging, doesn't it?
Oh, I've been more challenged.
Exactly. That I like.
You know?
Yes.
Good.
First world problems. We're doing great. Look at us.
Yeah.
we have the luxury of getting up early and driving to an amazing, fun estate sale.
Yeah.
And if we're real lucky, there might be more than one.
I had no plan to come. I just woke up and I saw it.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Sophisticated lady. I really like those. Paul Harris. $3 on those? Oh my. That is something else. Oh, I'm sorry. This guy is so cool. Definitely getting a seagull. Oh, Marshalls. That's always sell. Not technically worth it, but they always sell.
And it's a good bet. You hate to polish it.
Some beautiful clear glass. It doesn't sell. So dark. I want to shop, but I can't see. It was super dark in a couple of areas of this house, and I'm not faulting anyone for that. I'm just letting you know that I didn't really have control over the lighting, and it was a little frustrating for me and some of the other shoppers as well, although we were still having a great time and everybody had a very positive and upbeat attitude about it in general. But it did make it hard to show you what I was looking at, but I'll show you the things I got, and I did get a couple of really cool things, so I can't wait to show you in the haul at the end. I'm trying. Can I put a sign on my pile so no one will touch it?
Oh, sure. Hold on 1 second.
If you just point me in the direction, I can make a sign myself. I don't mind helping myself.
20, but I don't have, I told her retail.
You don't have to make a sign for me. I can make one if you just have paper or something. I just work so hard on my pile, and I want to go work.
I'm so happy.
And I want to go work more, but I don't want anyone to abscond with any of these treasures.
Right.
So I'm going to come back. I'm not checking out yet. I'm going to go shopping. I just want you to guard it for me.
I will guard them with my life.
She's going to guard it with her life. Yes, sit on top of. That's perfect. I love it. That's a good solution. Crafts. I don't do a lot of stuff like that, but I like this. What does this go on? Oh, someone got wax on it. That's tricky. I'm not going to be able to get that off. These are kind of cool. Do I want to keep those till next year? Maybe. There's got a date on it. Things. Easter. Wow, she must have gone crazy at Christmas. How many Santas do you need? I've never seen a seagull before. I had to have one. Aren't they cool?
They are cool. I like it.
Come down at 9 and we would have had it more organized. We would have just had to wait.
Well, I inspired that man, and he is buying like every cement, concrete figurine you got out there.
How much did you tell him?
Was I supposed to give him a price?
What do you think?
Absolutely not. $1 million each.
Well, in that case, I'm taking your sold sticker off.
Wait, I just helped you. You're gonna get like $5-10 million for the stuff he's
If I
buying.
get $10 million, girlfriend, we're split.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
50-50.
I heard her say that.
God,
Okay, yes, everyone
everybody here
witnesses.
gets 25%. How's that?
Oh, wow, just for being
I
here as a
know.
Just for
witness.
your mere presence.
Not, I don't think this is my kind of sale, but wow. I wonder if I should get this for my booth. A Cancun Bolero. Maybe, if they're cheap enough. So as you can see, this sale, which this was the third day, and the last day, I mean, it was sparse. I don't usually buy bolo ties. They're not really bolos for me, if you catch my drift. But those were kind of interesting, and I knew they'd be really inexpensive, and it feels like when you drive somewhere, you gotta find something. I do find some other treasures. I was kind of surprised at really good prices. But like I said, it was the last day and the last couple hours of the sale. Wow, there's not much to shop.
Just they're doing $10 pill bags. Anything that ends in wear.
Glassware, silverware, Tupperware.
So because it was the last few hours of this sale and it was the third day, didn't have very high hopes, but I always enjoy looking at jewelry. It is one of my favorite things, as you might know. And I can find costume pieces to sell in the booth for $8 to $10 a piece, but this is not a costume piece. That piece I just put in the shoebox is a sterling cyan piece with enamel. You may have seen them before. And so I grabbed that, and I think the marked pieces were half price, so I think I paid $2.50 for it. But the other jewelry was $1 a piece. Now I couldn't extract or separate these two from each other, so I just gave up. Looking back, maybe I would have just bought them if they were $1 each, but I wasn't sure at that moment what the prices were. I don't buy scarf clips, that's why I put that back. And so I was pretty happy when I got to checkout and found out that most of the jewelry I picked up, the costumey type stuff, was $1 a piece. This one was $4 because it was half of $8 because it was marked, but it is sterling marcasite, probably from the 80s, so still a good buy for $4. I was pretty surprised, actually, that those pieces were left. Now, I'm not saying that those are going to be fast sellers, but I still think that that's a good value for when they do sell. And I can put up a few comps for similar items to give you an idea, but that will happen during the haul at the end. I'm trying to see if there's a mark on this, and it does turn out that there is a mark. So I will tell you more about that later too. And I grabbed this earring because I mistakenly thought it was gold. It was not gold. I don't think she actually charged me for it.
With her, that's why I didn't do it.
Glitter tour. It's very interesting. So I did end up going downstairs to the basement, and I was down here for a little while, so it felt like too much silence, and since there were a lot of shoppers, I didn't feel as comfortable talking to myself, even though I talked to myself all over the world. I didn't want to attract too much attention, I guess, but you could tell it was the last day of the sale. You could tell, well, obviously upstairs you could tell, but down here it was the kind of place where you knew that the day before there were probably amazing treasures. Now, I have often found things the last day of the sale. If you watched last week's video, I found things that made me some really good money, but this was pretty decimated. But like I said, there were a lot of signs that this was probably the kind of sale I should have gone to the first or second day. You know, when you lead a busy life and you're doing this part-time in addition to other things, it is hard to always prioritize the sale. And some people might think that I always do that, but I actually can't always do that. And so we do the best we can with the day and the sale, the way it presents itself, I guess. But I did enjoy myself very much, and I will show you everything I got. I did pick up this tray. And I didn't do a very good job of including it in the haul, which I already recorded for you. But it is teak. It's not by Dansk, which would have made it more valuable, but it is teak. It says Goodwood, which is sort of like the more common, less valuable version of that. But those trays can go anywhere from $40 to $100. So I did grab that. They had a lot of vintage toys. They seemed to be cataloged maybe by the owner before the sale. And it was a little bit overwhelming because it was obvious that they knew a lot more than I did about any of these toys. But for some reason, this little Hershey's Kiss mother with an apron thing appealed to me. And so I stick that in the bag. And I think there might be one other toy that I do pick up. I don't know why I can't figure out the bag all of a sudden. I must be getting fatigued. There were a lot of people there considering it was the last day. Now, I used to collect dolls when I was a little kid, so I guess maybe they're still at my dad's house. Dad, let me know. And so that one reminded me of like maybe like Holly Hobby or something. But I don't have that one. So this is late in the morning for the first day of this sale. And it was only the garage and a relatively large living room. Oh, I wanted to address the whistling issue. I don't think I can stop. For those of you who have complained, and I guess it really bothered you because you took the time to leave me a comment, it would be great if those same people could leave me a positive comment about what they are enjoying. But let's not digress. I don't even know that I'm whistling, so it makes it really hard to stop. Maybe I need a shock collar. I had no idea I was whistling till I went to watch the footage. So apparently I'm a whistler. Whistle while you work? I actually will try because I'm not trying to irritate anyone. I think what happens is I'm having a good time. And music decorates time. Anyway, I did like those Christmas glasses, but you know, I've had trouble selling seasonal glasses in the past for a profit. So, plus I think there were like 12 of them, and we're so close to Christmas. This is like the weekend before Thanksgiving that I was like, oh man, I might hold on to those for a year. I kind of wish I had bought this, although it looks like it does have an issue. Now I'm glad I didn't. It has some kind of a problem. But this was a very interesting umbrella. So I was a little disappointed that this was called an estate sale when it was relatively small. I mean, basically 2 rooms. I thought that some of the things they had were pretty nice, though. And again, I think this was around maybe like 11 in the morning, maybe even a little bit later. And so I found a few things I liked, which I'll show you either here in the footage or in the haul or both. And so I do sometimes wonder, I'm sure you guys, leave me a comment if you do that. Do you ever like find cool stuff and then go, if I found this, what was here 2 hours ago? What is that? It's the opposite of sour grapes. I don't sell slates very well. I've had to give them away, so I don't buy them very much. This was about to go in my bag because it was so cool, and now I kind of wish I'd bought it. But it could be what we call a long tail item, in spite of the fact that the common loon doesn't have that long a tail. But I just feel like, how long would it take to sell a loon clock? But I'm looking at it now thinking it's really beautiful and I should have bought it. That's another thing I'd love to hear about. What's something you passed up recently that you wish you had bought? Leave me a comment. Now, these I know to buy. Beautiful. This one actually turns out to be more valuable than you would expect. I tried to be very thorough because I knew this was a small sale. I knew it was late in the day. Well, kind of. And I've been watching some new YouTubers, and one of the more recent ones I watched, she's very thorough. She picks up and puts down every single item, and I think it works for her. So I figured I could maybe learn something from her. I really liked this Pac-Man lunchbox. I kind of grew up on Pac-Man, so I like that a lot. And that goes in the bag. Now this room was very loud, so I'm going to continue the voiceover. It was a sort of new construction house with these big cavernous rooms and no carpets. And so it was kind of loud in here, so I'm sure you'll hear some background noise. I don't think I'm going to delete the background noise completely. I kind of like to hear the ambient, is that the right word? Noise. But anyway, they loved loons. There were a lot of loons. They were loony for them. I'm sorry, that was so bad. And I'm not going to redo the voiceover to delete it out. So I did pick up a few things in this room. A lot of the stuff was either like, that's so beautiful, more traditional antiques or things that don't sell well for me. I got kind of excited by the shoes and clothing, but I don't know if I found anything good in here or not. I'm thinking back. We might both have to wait. The suspense is getting to both of us. This little monkey was cute, but he was very high priced. I want to say he was like $200. I thought this might be Anderson design, and the light in here was actually hard to see by. I'm still not convinced it wasn't Anderson design, but I still can't read what it says. And it wasn't super cheap, so I decided to put it down. I probably should have Google Lensed it.
Okay.
Because Anderson design pottery does really, really well. Yeah, I may just skim through this clothing quickly with you so that you don't get bogged down like I did. I really liked this plate, and I often see fused glass pieces. I think this is fused glass. I don't think it's painted on there. But they do not sell for me. I've had to literally give them away. So I don't know if it's the area I'm in or the way I'm presenting them. I'm not sure. Let me know in your area if fused glass does sell. So that was why, even though I took a really long gander at that plate, I decided not to buy it. And those were kind of interesting prints, but I have something like that that has not sold. So I'm trying to take my analytics, if you will, from my sales and put it back into my purchases. So if things are not selling for me, I'm trying not to buy them again. I feel like maybe I'm learning. So these purses were what you might call good from far, but far from good. A lot of these looked vintage. You might have noticed that the price on that one was something like $20 or $30, I believe. The prices weren't great, and they were like faux vintage. I don't think very many of these were vintage at all. And some of them that looked like they might be leather, they were actually plastic. And so I didn't get bogged down after the first 5 to 10 purses that disappointed me. Okay, guys, I'm going to run through everything I picked up at the 3 estate sales I drove 100 miles to get to today. You know, on the way home, I have to confess, I felt a little bit kind of like bummed because we've had some great shopping in the last year, but this is a tricky time of year for shopping. And actually, when I'm looking at the comps, and the bolos, I'm actually pretty psyched. So I did get, I think, 8 to 10 pieces of clothing. She couldn't have charged me more than $2 a piece. All of them will sell for $20 more in the booth. I'll show you some of the, I'm going to save this one for a minute because that one's a little bit more of a bolo. But if you see like 90s stuff, like this sort of astrology type stuff, color blocking, try to pick that up if it's cheap enough and you don't mind listing clothing or you have a booth to sell it in. This is by Allure. It's not a name I'm familiar with. The comp is not for this exact jacket, but I just wanted to give you an idea of some things to look for. This is a very 80s blouse with shoulder pads and this gemstone, like kind of like brooch embellishment. Leslie Faye, this is actually a really pretty red wrap dress. So there were other pieces. I'm not going to go through all of them because I want to keep this short and sweet if I can, but I did want to show you, this is quite embellished. I believe this is probably 80s, but it could be 90s. To look for, when it looks over the top, look at the tag. This is one of the names I do look for. Now the comps do vary, but this particular dress, I think I found almost the exact same one, retails for over $100, and I think I paid about $2 for it. Like I said, it could have been even less. That woman gave me really good prices. Sorry about the squeaky floors. The house is 100 years old, and I'm actually in a slightly different spot. I moved the table a little bit and I'm right in a creaky spot. Apparently many feet have walked on that spot. Anyway, so vintage clothing, if it's inexpensive, you can do well with it, whether you're selling online or in a booth. For me, because I don't like listing clothing and I prefer that people can try things on, the booth works best. But this one, I might be very vigilant when I take the measurements and do the photos. And this one I'll probably put online because it's more expensive. And people are not careful at the booth, and sometimes they will damage articles of clothing and they put them back. It's like a hit and run. So that's just how I do it. If you're selling online or in a shop, you have to make your own best decisions. And I don't know, if you sell vintage clothing on Facebook, will you drop me a comment about how that works for you? I haven't done a lot of that, but I'm interested to see if that's a good platform. This was the last day of the sale. And there were other pickers there in this beautiful cluster of, I mean, it's amethyst type quartz, right? Not gemstones per se, because they're not cut that way, but these are like amethyst grapes. So these stone grapes and the lucite ones are always a bolo. You want to pick them up. And when you look at that comp, you'll know why. These are really heavy, by the way. I feel like I could get my weight training in, at least on my left arm. I always buy vintage timers. You've seen me buy them before. They sell in the booth. People like them in their kitchen. Maybe you have more than one thing cooking. Maybe you've got your phone going, the stove going, you need one more timer. Or they like the whole like nostalgic vibe. Anyway, 10 to 12 bucks. I probably paid the 50 cents. I think this might have been from one of the other estate sales. This stuff is all a little bit mixed together, just the way it fit on the table. This is not a bolo, but I thought it was really cute. And it's worth mentioning that you should look for things that are new old stock because they might be worth your while. I think that's like a $10 or $12 item. I almost didn't get these because it's past Halloween. We're almost on Thanksgiving, but I got them because they were sort of new old stock-ish. I don't know how old they are. I haven't found the date on these, but I'll throw up a comp for something similar. And again, this is from the sale where I might have paid $1 for each box. So it felt like it was worth it, even if I have to hold on to them. I got a little vintage cocktail shaker, which is in beautiful condition. And you know, I've never really seen this red plastic lid, but I actually love it. Love that. That comp might be a little bit high, but I'll probably sell that in the booth anyway because I'm so overstocked with stuff to list online and it takes so much time. Whereas I can put 50 items in the booth in a couple of hours and I can't do 50 listings in a couple of hours. This is one of those swinging frames. This little child, look at the look on this baby's face. It has such beautiful detail. Maybe down here the light's better. I don't sell that many of these. What I mean is I don't buy them that often, but it was so inexpensive. I think it was $6. I couldn't help myself, so I did it. This looked like sterling, and even the seller was like, hold on a second, and inspecting it. He's a very accomplished and knowledgeable seller, and I said, I know it looks like sterling, it's silver plate, but the comp, considering I paid a couple of dollars for it, was still worth it. I'll make 35 bucks. So I grabbed that. I thought this was really cute. You know, I didn't look this up yet, I confess, but if I get a comp for you, I will put it up on the screen. This is the time to be selling this stuff. And I've stopped listing Christmas on Etsy for the most part and started listing on Facebook and putting in the booth because I just feel like I want it gone as soon as possible. I'll find more Christmas for next year. If it's not super duper special, it's probably not going on Etsy at this point. Now this reminds me of a Christmas item, but I guess it isn't. This was $4. I thought it was really cool. I like it just the way it is. The seller, who's accomplished and knowledgeable, said it was for thread, but I don't even know if that's true. Leave me a comment if you know what this is for, or if you have a creative use for it. I feel like it's sort of like a decorative piece. Williamsburg kept coming up. I'll put up a comp. I'm still not really sure what it's actually for. Do you serve food on it? Because those nails look a little sus. Anyway, I had to get this because it was so cute. Now, it might remind you of a more recent, modern emoji, but it is a Hershey's Kiss. You could give it to someone who's semi-sweet in your life. You know, that moody person you can't help but love. Not a bolo, but I think I only paid a few dollars for it. It's called the Morsel Family Mom. Maybe I'm giving it to myself. I'm a little moody myself. So this is a wicker and sort of like needlepoint bag. This comp surprised me. I thought it was going to be higher, but these types of bags do tend to be bolos, just not this particular one. But it will sell in the booth nonetheless, and I will make money because I didn't pay a lot for it, a couple dollars. I swore I wasn't buying any more aprons. Then I was like, why don't I wear aprons? Just wear them. Like, be like a stylist and wear them out of the house as like an extra layer. I've been watching B. Jones Style. She gives me these wild ideas. This is almost like a bark cloth. It's got that a little bit of roughness or coarseness to the fabric. The colors were so pretty. I'm hoping it will sell in my booth. I'm not going to list it online. I suppose if it were April Cornell or if Vera Newman made them, then I might. But in this case, it looks to be homemade potentially. So I'm just going to put it in my booth. I think it will look really sweet. But yes, I did grab it. These will probably go in the booth as well if I don't decide to keep them. These are so cute. These little, I guess these are tiny appliques, but these strawberry napkins, and I think you could use those year round because they're kind of Christmassy, but then they're kind of summery. The colors are Christmassy, but the fruit's summery. Anyway, very inexpensive. I'm going to say $5 for the set. So I could sell those on Facebook if I wanted to. $8 for the Pac-Man lunchbox. Now, it's a bit roached. I mean, you know, it was made in 1980, and apparently someone really waka the heck out of this thing. It does not have the thermos, but for $8, I know I can sell it in the booth for probably $25 to $30. And in the comp, it was even higher, although those were slightly better condition, I must say. Now, someone tried to abscond with the rulers and yardsticks and stuff that I was buying. Now, I don't know if these particular ones are worth a lot, but I like the ones that have an actual place because it feels like history, you know? And apparently they spent a lot of time at the Sherman-Williams Decorating Center in Bel Air. Most of these estates were in Bel Air. I really like these. And some guy came in and he was touching all my stuff. And I said, well, I already paid for that, sir. I was literally packing up to leave. And he goes, well, can I still look at it? And he looked really like, what's the word I want? Kind of like ashamed of himself. But I was like, oh, yeah, you can look at it. I'm like, but, you know, I already paid for it and I'm leaving. So don't take your time. I didn't say that. My friend Patrice and I love these. And actually, I think my friend John loves these as well. I have a collection and I don't know what I'm doing with it. But I like them. I might put some in the booth finally. I've been collecting them for years. They probably sell for $5 to $10 a piece, and people like to make things out of them. Backsplashes, tabletops. Now, I don't buy silver plate mirrors. You can tell this is silver plate because it is worn through. At least I think it is. But it had an L on it, and it was so ornate. Look at this Art Nouveau relief, this 3D face. And this is, again, the last day of the sale. So it had an L. I got it. I have my impulse buys. I'm sure you already know that. If this is your first time here, there will be some impulse buys. It won't all be based on intelligence and research. This particular estate had a lot of loon items. If I put this in my booth, I'd probably put about $14 on it. I guess they paid $7.50 and I paid $4. I thought it was really lovely. I might even keep it just because it's so little and so beautiful. I guess I skipped this little lamp. So this is not a vintage lamp. Of course, it's not a Tiffany lamp. I don't even want to call it Tiffany style. Let's just call it a stained glass lamp. But these do sell in the booth and on Facebook, 25, 30 bucks. And I think I paid, I don't know, $5 max. Probably not even $5. I bought this only because this was the last day of the sale, the third day. And they knew what they had, but I noticed that this one was signed. And I guess that makes a pretty decent difference because I paid a couple dollars and I think it sells for 20. But am I ever going to get around to listing it? Probably not. But I can't help myself when I find a signed item. Okay, this box surprised me. Let's put it over here where it stands out more. Now, I've been buying these for years, and I had known that many of them were made in Russia, and a lot of them depict fairy tales. This looks like the Frog Prince. You see his little crown. And Kayla and Matt, homeschooling picker and part-time picker, have been buying a lot of these and selling them lately. So I knew what it was, and I was excited to buy it, and I don't remember how much I paid for it, maybe $5. It could have even been $8. I don't recall, but I looked up the exact box, and the price was crazy. I don't know. Is this a particularly collectible one, I guess? Anyway, look for those. These Russian lacquer boxes, they are wood. They are hand-painted. They have folktale scenes. Certain folktales probably are worth more than others. The inside is often red, but not always. And sometimes you can find a signature, but I don't really have my optivisor on, so I don't see it, sorry. I was looking around the phone again. But look for those. This I grabbed. This was a nostalgia grab. Another impulse buy, but I still think I'll get my money back. I paid $8 for it. I'm probably going to have to list it online to get full price, which it doesn't want to open. I can do this. I got to do this. I got to show you what's in here. This reminds me of being a kid like 1982. You get like a fake scrimshaw necklace inside a matching box. Remember I said they like loons? Well, there's a loon necklace, fake scrimshaw, inside a loon box. So I do kind of think that someone's going to want that on Etsy as a Christmas gift. And I think I can make $20 or $30 on that. So I did grab it. Okay, so the jewelry situation. Most of this jewelry, no, all the jewelry was from the last day from 2 different sales. It's not a great time of year right before the holidays to have an estate sale, at least not right before Thanksgiving. But I still thought there were some teachable moments and I will still make some money. I didn't pull out my loop, but I probably should have because I wouldn't have bought this Anne Klein watch. So that's kind of a don't do what I do what I say. I love this Phoenix brooch. It is enormous. It is not marked. When you look at it very closely, it almost looks like gold, but it is extremely light compared to what gold would weigh. And there's a little bit of flaking of the plating on one of the legs. I still think I might sell this on Etsy because it is so dramatic. It's so stylized. I don't even know what era I might say that's from. It almost is like arts and crafts, German kind of. Help me out. Can you guys help me out? Bangles have been selling. These are not sterling. I remember my dad gave me some of these in the 80s. I still have them. I've been seeing a lot of bangles lately, so I grabbed these. The jewelry was like, I think it was $1 a piece, except for 2 of the pieces that were marked. Again, this is from 2 different sales. This is just a fun costume piece, but I do want to throw up a comp on a piece that I thought was costume when I first saw it. And I thought it was so over the top and overly embellished, and I would never be caught dead wearing it. And then when I got it home, it was marked sterling, and the designer was easy to locate, and it was worth like $800. So I will throw up the comp for that necklace because you do need to take time to look, whether it's the last day of the sale or not. You might be the person who knows a little bit more than all those other buyers. This bar pin kind of fooled me because there was just something about it that made me think it was gold. And I think it was this. Hopefully you can see. It sort of has a modified C-clasp, and people who know more about jewelry than I will know the name of this C-clasp, but it actually does have a little rotating piece. It has a mark on it that looks almost exactly like 10K, right where you would expect to see it. on the top of the clasp, but I think it says something else. But for $1, I don't care. These I just thought were really ornate and fun with the keys. I don't know what's going on here. Is this Etruscan? I think that's Etruscan style. I don't know if I've ever bought bolo ties that weren't sterling, but this one has a kangaroo. This is an automobile association, and this is a piece of like wood. I couldn't help myself. They were $1. There was not a lot at this sale. It was challenging. However, well, I thought this might be a sterling piece, but it's made to look like a sterling piece from the earlier, like World War II era or earlier, but I think it's a mid-century costume piece simulating that. It fooled me, but for $1 it will sell. You guys have seen this stuff before. You probably know that my dad collects this stuff, and this is a huge brooch. Marked clearly on the back. It was priced at $5, which meant it was $2.50 today. So that's a nice little flip of a fan. And I often do not buy 80s Marcasite type jewelry, but for $4, I bought it. Excuse me. It has a little piece of onyx, and it's supposed to be a heart. So I have a similar comp, not identical. Okay, the last two things on the table, I have a couple of items outside. I haven't decided if I'm going to show you those first or last, but they're pretty cool. I've been watching a new YouTuber. Tuition Ain't Cheap, and she buys a lot of beauty products. She's fun to watch. I like her. She shops differently from the way I do, but then I can learn something from her. So Aveda makes some beautiful products with amazing scents. Smells, that is. And I love that this person had the energizing stimulant body cleanser. Oh boy, that was great. And they had the calming one. So like, I guess they had uppers and downers. That can be very dangerous. I'm sure they weren't using them together. But anyway, this is the calming one. And it feels like this person didn't need to be calmed as much as they need to be stimulated. Maybe they need to go to more estate sales. They used a tiny bit more of this one. They both smell fantastic. The comp is crazy. And I think the calming one at least is discontinued. The comps are crazy. And I do think you can sell those on Etsy if they are vintage enough. And if they're not, I'll probably have to sell them on Facebook. I don't sell on eBay yet. I don't think I forgot anything on the table, but I do hope that you guys get out there soon. You find some really weird, cool, amazing finds that make you good money. And I always hope that you never stop searching. I will see you guys next time. You thought it was over, but I forgot to go over this tray with you because there was jewelry all over it. So when I saw this, I knew it was teak and I knew it was mid-century, probably 60s or 70s. Now, if it were Dansk, I flipped it over to see if it was Dansk, it would be worth quite a bit. Now it says Goodwood and it does say genuine teak. This does have some value, but not as much probably as if it were Dansk. But I thought it was worth mentioning when you're out there shopping. So the end of the haul is going to be outside. I had originally set up outside with everything and things were blowing around. I'm sure you could hear the wind. It seems like every time I want to do a haul outside, it's really windy. But anyway, I got these 2 concrete lawn ornaments. I'll put up comps for them if I find comps for you, but these do sell well locally. I would never want to ship this thing. It was so heavy. And it was kind of funny because the woman said she would guard it with her life. And I carried 1 box to my car, which took me about 2 minutes, and I came back and she was selling it to someone else. The good news is there were 3 more out back and he got those. I just picked my favorite one. I didn't want to get overloaded. Maybe that wasn't smart, but you know what? We were both happy, so it worked out fine. I hope you guys go out there, you get happy finding some great stuff, and I always hope that you guys never stop searching. I will see you guys next time.